Order in the court.
Bless y'all, but I don't want to spend the night here. Finally, I apologize. I am normally a serious stickler for our time schedule. If you know me, you know that I stay on a very strict schedule, but I felt like it was so important for our audience, the public, everybody watching on video. So, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Berkeley County Board of Education meeting this Tuesday, July 24th, 2018. I call this meeting to order. I declare a quorum is present and the media has been notified. Do we have a motion to approve the agenda?
I make the motion.
Second.
There's a motion by Mr. Ramsey, a second by Reverend Spann to approve the agenda. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, we'll call the question. All in favor, please respond by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. The agendas are approved. We'll now stand for the Pledge of Allegiance and a moment of silence. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. We'll now move on to agenda item 2B, a motion to approve the minutes for a public hearing on June 26, 2018.
Second.
So moved. We reversed it.
Yep. Motion by Mr. McQuillan, second by Mr. Ramsey. We can't already be tired. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, we'll call the question. All in favor, please respond by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. The motion passes. Now we'll hear 2C, the approval of the minutes for June 26th, the regular board meeting.
So moved.
Second.
There's a motion by Mr. McQuillan, a second by Mr. Ramsey to approve the minutes of the board meeting on June 26, 2018. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, we'll call the question. All in favor, please respond by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. Final item in number 2D, approval of the minutes from the board workshop on July 10th, 2018. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
There's a motion by Ms. Condor, a second by Mr. McQuillan. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, we'll call the question. All in favor, please respond by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. I am so sorry if you came here for Legacy Builders and you saw all that lively debate. At least you know your school board is working for you. We would like to recognize Ms. Katie Orvin Tanner for our Legacy Builders and special recognition.
Good evening, Chair Wofford, members of the board, Superintendent Ingram, and all of you who've joined us tonight. Thanks for hanging in there with us. I'm really excited about this month's Legacy Builders, and I have the privilege to introduce them tonight. I'm going to ask for our Career and Technical Education Director, Ms. Tana Lee, to join me to talk about our South Carolina Association for Career and Technical Education Award winners.
Good evening, Chair Wofford, Dr. Ingram, members of the board. I have the honor of presenting everyone with our award winners from the South Carolina Association of Career and Technical Education. I am proud to say that Berkeley walked away with 3 of the 8 awards.
Wow.
So the first award winner, 2 of them could not be here tonight. The first one is Jessica Galati. She is the Career Counselor of the Year. And to let you know what that award does, says this award recognizes school counselors and career development professionals who have demonstrated commitment to connecting students with opportunities for success, shown in innovation and career exploration and development, and have advocated for career and technical education as a viable option for all students. So we're very proud of Jessica. The next one, Gwen Ward, is a retiree of Berkeley County. She received the Lifetime Achievement Award. This award recognizes career and technical education professionals for their leadership on behalf of the association, their innovations in CTE, and their contributions to the field over an extended period of time. Gwen sent some remarks. She shared a quote from Mark Twain. It says, Mark Twain said, there are two important days in a person's life, the day they are born and the day they discover why. She says, I'm one of the lucky ones to have discovered the answer to the second question. My passion, discovered in education, was to develop career interest connections for our students to discover their places in life, what and where they will begin to build their career, and how to connect business and industry with student schools and programs. They were the most rewarding years of my life, she says. Thank you for allowing me to have made that discovery in Berkeley County. So, congrats to Gwen. The next is the Teacher of the Year for Career and Technical Education, and we're honored to have Kirk Richter in the audience tonight. He is the Cane Bay High School Environmental and Natural Resource Management instructor. Come on up, Kirk. This award recognizes the finest career and technical teachers at the middle and secondary level who have demonstrated innovation in the classroom, commitment to their students, and dedication to the improvement of CTE in their institution and communities. I have to tell you, Kirk is a phenomenal teacher. He is a great mentor to our students, and he has done a wonderful job. His principal is here. Mr. McDowell, do you want to come up? But he's done a wonderful job with the community as well. Is there someone you want to recognize that's here with you tonight?
My wife.
Brian, would you take a picture?
That's all right.
We're going to post.
One more time.
Come this way. Come this way just a little bit. Yeah.
Okay, we got it.
Can we actually move this way? This way? There we go. And in, yeah?
Yeah. Love each other. All right, Katie.
And I think it should come as no surprise. We have recognized the accomplishments of our career and technical education students and staff throughout the year. And I think it's real indicative of how great of a leader you have when those around them are succeeding the way they are. So I don't think you'll be surprised to hear that Tana at that same conference won the Champion of the Year award. So we also want to recognize our director, Ms. Tana Lee.
One more. Sorry. It's my fault.
Oh, Tim Knight.
All right. On Thursday of last week, our own Tim Knight stood before a crowd in D.C. metro area and was recognized for his commitment in making safety and security the top priority at Berkeley County Schools. He was one of two people named K-12 Campus Safety Director of the Year by Campus Safety Magazine. Knight was named a finalist earlier this year and was announced as a winner of the award following judging by a panel comprised of healthcare professionals, police chiefs, and school campus safety experts. It's a national award Campus Safety Magazine has presented for 11 years. Campus Safety Magazine editor-in-chief described Knight and the three other winners as professionals who continue to raise the bar. So tonight we want to recognize our own Mr. Tim Knight for his national award received from Campus Safety Magazine as Director of the Year.
I have a short side.
And I will also say this for Tim's benefit. He sometimes does not really like getting a lot of attention brought to himself or to the work that's been done in safety because, as he will tell you, safety is never satisfied. So he is never satisfied with where we are and always wants to get better. So he's always a little bit nervous when we recognize him for these things, but I think it's important that we do. So congratulations to our legacy builders this evening, and thank you all for coming.
Thank you. If you came just to celebrate a legacy builder, we appreciate you sitting here for a very long time, and that you should not endure the rest of the school board meeting. But thank you. We are always proud. And I know I say this every time, but I feel like every time we see a legacy builder, Berkeley County is competing for national awards. Whether it's our students, our teachers, or our staff, we have excellent, excellent people in Berkeley County, and we're not going to stop doing the hard work to highlight the people that really matter the most in the district, which are our students, our teachers, and our staff. So very, very thankful for you. We're now going to move on to citizen comments. In order to conduct the meeting in an orderly and efficient manner, we ask that you honor the following guidelines. Stakeholder comments are welcomed and encouraged. However, the board will not take immediate action on public comments at this meeting. Any person wishing to address the board must register prior to the meeting. Comments must be regarding programs, policies, or procedures. Comments regarding complaints against employees other than district-level executives or references to students other than the child of the speaker will not be heard in public session. Groups addressing the same topic should select one speaker. Comments will be limited to 3 minutes per speaker. The board chair reserves the right to allot additional time or halt public comments that do not adhere to the guidelines. First, I'd like to recognize Mr. Tom Fernandez from Somerville, who would like to talk about the contract renewal vote. Mr. Fernandez, welcome to the podium.
Thank you, board members. Most of you may know who I am already. I apologize for throwing you off without a hat. First, I want to thank you, every one of you tonight, and I mean this sincerely. Tonight, everyone has witnessed a significant shift in political behavior, not just in the school district, but I would contend across the entire state of South Carolina. This discussion tonight about the extension could certainly have been held in executive committee. But the radical transparency displayed by the school district tonight is applaudable, and it should send a shout across the entire state. My live stream last night, since then I've spoken to many people from the school district in 24 hours. No matter what type of concern has been shared with me about this contract or other concerns, there has been a common theme. And that theme is that they are afraid, and they are afraid of the board members. They are afraid of speaking out of concerns that they notice and concerns that they witness, and they're unwilling to share them in fear of punishment. It does not matter who is in charge of this consulting services. The data that was presented is phenomenal. A product that me, myself, as an attorney and an MBA, wouldn't even dream of doing in several years of work. However, the larger concern is the transparency. And I thank Mr. Whitley for his conversation with me after adjournment. I thank every one of you for your radical transparency. But our teachers are suffering and our staff are suffering. I would hope that the amount of time that was devoted tonight concerning facilities and contracts would also be devoted to the very individuals caring for our children. I again thank every one of you tonight. Regardless of how you voted, tonight was a shot across the bow of political behavior across the state. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Up next, I'd like to invite J.A. Moore from Hanahan to talk about finance and human resources. Mr. Moore.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. It's been a long meeting. But my name is J.A. Moore, and for full transparency, I'm running for South Carolina State House District 15. And the reason why I'm here tonight is on the behest of a number of educators, a number of concerned citizens, and it is all about this contract that Mr. Hernandez just talked about. People are very, very concerned. People are very concerned about this contract, so I do appreciate you all having it open to the public, but we really have to focus on the teachers and the educators and the staff, and the facilities are great, but we have a shortage of teachers coming into the school year. I think we all know that's across the state. And so I think that should be where our focus should be, is on the teachers and the educators and the students. So that's all I have. And this was really great that you all had this long conversation about it. But I just think we're kind of missing the boat on here. So thank you all for your time.
Next, I'd like to invite Ms. Patricia Eckstein to speak about the facility needs presentation.
It's been a while since I've been here, and I have to tell you what a breath of fresh air this meeting was tonight compared to the meetings we attended starting back in 2014 to find out, one, where was our school and how much money was left in the referendum and how much was left for our school. Dr. Ingram, you are our 6th superintendent in the last 4 school years, and I'm so thankful you are here. And I have to say, if I make a call to you, I hear back from you, and so unlike previous administrators, except for Dion. But you did have 3 interim superintendents, and Dr. Thompson and Ms. Blackburn, and I just can't get over the difference. The last time I was here was when Dr. Parker made his presentation on what the facility plan would be and what they were going to go through. And having worked in another school district for 23 years and building schools there, it's the most comprehensive plan that they could have hoped to have done, and it's been done in less than a year. I am amazed at everything that this school board and Dr. Ingram have done in the last year. So as to the cost of his future contracts and the consultants, he's already saved you money on the insurance scheme and providing the information for the lawsuit, the reorganization of the district office for $1.3 million. If you tried to send this out to somebody else who did not care about Berkeley County as Dr. Parker and his associates do, you would not be able to afford this contract with any other company, I think. So I just want to say also, too, that tonight was the first time we finally heard the final bottom line figure that we've been waiting to hear. I've been waiting to see, when the federal case was closed with Brantley, that it's $81 million. The last time I was here was the $7 million just to continue Bowen's Corner Elementary School and Fox Bank. And to now hear $81 million. And what I called a shell game when I was trying to find out the answer was moving the money around from general appropriation to the bond funds and back and forth. You never would have been able to come up with that figure without Dr. Parker. So for the staff, staying tight to your budget and keeping it at a no increase is tough. I've been in that position before, but you did not perpetrate this upon the employees. You were cleaning up what was perpetrated on them by Mr. Thomas, by prior board, whether they were taking the appropriate action and being involved that you are doing. So I just thank you very much. Even the cost figure for each school and what you would save annually in operations with those changes in 1 year would pay for his upcoming contract. So please, I would ask you all to reconsider. You have a gem here who has done so much in less than 1 year. He's worth every penny, and I've never met him before. Thank you. Good luck to you all.
Thank you. Next, I'd like to recognize Mr. Jay Jackson, who would like to speak about the building plan and the bond issue on our ongoing plan.
Thank you, Ms. Walford and Reverend Spann and Dr. Ingram and the board. I think what's motivated, let me say, my name is Jay Jackson. I'm a small business owner here in Moncks Corner. I've lived here 26 years and been paying into this school district for 26 years. I've had 2 children come through the system here and graduate and go on to do good things. And I was married to a Berkeley County school teacher all of that time. So I don't get here often enough. When I do, I don't always leave happy, but tonight I'm going to leave happy. I just want to tell you I am excited about what y'all are doing. I am flabbergasted to know that all of this time I've paid in all this money to a district that didn't even know what buildings it had or what to do with them or how it's going to cost to maintain them or any of those things. But I'm excited to see that you put together a team that, these guys, from what I learned tonight, their depth of knowledge of education past, education present, and this whole new education future, this collaborative thing, that's new information to me. Buildings that sustain the collaborative model, that's new information to me. These guys, their knowledge seems to be as deep and wide as the River Jordan, and I don't know where else we would have gotten that. So thank you for doing that. One more thing I heard about central procurement tonight. I had no idea that principals and their secretaries were ordering their own toner and paper and stuff, and having come from 18 years of industry experience, I'm very in tune with how much cost savings we can acknowledge or realize with having central procurement. So I'm excited to hear we're going to do that. This whole question about retaining our consultants to move forward, 2 things strike me. One is, the first one is, as I sat here and listened to that, I'm thinking all that plan that we had, all that stuff that our maintenance team put together, prioritizing things we had to do. One hurricane this fall will change all of that. And this fact that we have this computer system now means that people that know what they're doing can go out there and re-inventory and reprioritize, and we can, in probably 90 days, know what to do and have our budget back in place. So I'm excited about knowing that we have that protection. The other thing is, Mr. McQuillan, you pointed out to us that if we have a team that can focus on the buildings, then Dr. Ingram can focus on exactly what was said earlier, the teachers and the students. And we need to focus on the teachers and the students, because I got to tell you, we're running off teachers here. And we need to stop doing that. So we'll be able to focus on that. I'm excited to hear that. I'm running out of time. I got 3 more things I wanted to say. One is, as a spouse of a teacher, we talked about the benefits meetings and those people that sit down and talk to us about our insurance. I'm a financial advisor. I'm into that stuff, so I never missed a year going to sit down with the insurance people and make sure we were getting the right stuff. I was never pressured into buying stuff that I didn't want to buy. And there might have been times that I left there feeling like the representative didn't know enough to answer all my questions. But I think it's important to know somebody was concerned about whether or not people were being pressured, and I never experienced that. I guess I'll stop there. Well, am I allowed to ask a question about the bond? Or am I done?
You can ask a question. We'd prefer for you to email it so we can give you a response. We don't normally respond directly to public comment, but if you will email me, or you have my cell phone number, call me on the phone, and I'll get you in touch with the right folks.
All right. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
All right.
That is all the citizen comments that we have for tonight. We're now on agenda item 5A. And I do not have my handy-dandy script, so we're going to wing it, baby. I would now recognize Ms. Condor, the Chair of Academics and Innovation Committee, for report.
Oh, let's see here. Okay. I recommend that the Head Start budget expenditures reports for May 2018, Head Start credit card report for May 2018, draft 2018-19, Head Start parent handbook, and the draft 2018-19 Head Start staff handbook be adopted.
There's a motion from committee. No second is required. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, we'll call the question. All in favor, please respond by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Nay. The ayes have it.
Madam Chairman, I also recommend that the 2018-2019 Berkeley County School District adoption of state textbook be adopted, and this is the second reading.
There's a motion from committee. No second is required. Is there any additional discussion? Hearing none, we'll call the question. All in favor, please respond by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Nay. The ayes have it. We'll now recognize Mr. Ramsey for the Finance and Human Resources Committee report. It's those same motions, and we're just going to have to roll with it. It's these motions. It's the same motion. You don't. We'll just roll through it.
Do we have a motion to approve?
Motion to approve first reading of revised policy GBE, drug and alcohol free workplace in schools.
There's a motion from committee. No second is required. Is there any discussion?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, sir.
I have a couple of questions and actually have comments. There are several things in the draft policy that I support. There's one that I have reservations about. One of the support points, and I'm sure the audience probably doesn't have a copy of this draft, but basically what it does, it allows the school district, upon pre-hiring a new employee, to require that new employee to take and pass a drug test. I'm not opposed to that because I think, given the circumstances of the way society is today, you need to find out up front if somebody's clean. That's my opinion. The second point is the district has in place, that's why it's not in bold italics, a policy that requires employees of any type in which there's reasonable suspicion that they may be under the influence of alcohol or drugs. They are required by policy to take a drug test. If they refuse, they're subject to disciplinary action and possible termination. And the same thing, of course, is if they test positive. I am in favor of that 100%, because if you've got an employee, regardless of their status and position, that demonstrates either physically or you detect some alcohol or under the influence of any type of drug, that needs to be addressed immediately. The part that really concerns me, and I'm not sure if this is new waters or if it's been in policy in other districts, how many districts perhaps. Actually, I'd like our council to really look into that and see, Mr. Whitley, if, and this is what I'm going to ask.
This is Mr. Gaskins.
Oh, I'm sorry,
Mr. Whitley
Gaskins.
doesn't handle employment, so Dr. Whitley can get.
Okay, here's my question. Actually, here's my concern. The last part of the policy that's in italics in bold basically allows for random drug testing of all employees, or actually the employees in sensitive areas. I think if you hire a person and they're clean at hiring and they don't have an issue under reasonable suspicion that they're under the influence of something. I don't think it's beneficial to require our employees to have random drug testing. I don't think that's something that is going to enhance our recruitment. And I'm just thinking out loud because, and I don't know if this is really something that is on the forefront and other boards across the state and the country are requiring this, but it concerns me that it could happen that somebody who is not in real good graces with maybe the principal or an assistant principal may be required to take a drug test at random. You know how things go. It's not necessarily always random, is it? You could always have issues and selective enforcement. So I have issues, I have concerns. I'd like to know if this random drug testing is in effect throughout the state of South Carolina. If it is, if it's a trend, then I'd like to know how pervasive it is and whether or not it's something that we want to actually pass as a board. I know this is a draft, but I'm just expressing my concern about that particular provision. The others, I'm okay with.
I guess my response to that is on, I guess, your argument that it could be targeting, and a principal could say, I don't like this particular teacher, I want them to have a random drug test. If they're not doing drugs, then they should be fine, number one. Number two, if you look at recent statistics in Berkeley County alone, I think this was in 2014 or 2016, 10.5 million opioid pills were sold in this county. That's 53 pills per resident. We've got an opioid epidemic in this county, and if our teachers are abusing them and are tasked with taking care of our children, I 100% support random drug testing. And again, even if it, worst case scenario, isn't random as you suggest, if the person's not doing drugs, they don't have anything to worry about.
That's right.
I'd just like to say I agree with Mr. McQuillan. I've seen this firsthand affect businessmen, really great people that become addicted. And if we can catch it early and help them and help their families to address this before something really devastating happens to that family, and if it is random, I support that.
I know that we had spoken before about the cost. Do we have numbers what this is going to cost the district for both the pre-screening and the random?
So I don't know the number, but the random policy is written in a way not to require 100 a year or 10% a year, so we could implement it over a period of, it's written that we may. Mm-hmm. So it's written where we have the option to move forward if we choose. I am very concerned about, there is an epidemic here. And it does happen to lots and lots of people that look great on the outside until their lives fall apart. So I just don't think we should be foolish about that. I am very regularly drug tested. I think that also gives people a, hey, I can't do that. If I do that, I'll lose my job. I separate myself from places because I know my job depends on it. Not that I'm scared, but I just know that's a requirement of my employment, and I keep my distance from places that I shouldn't be, which is good. But I just really think that whether it's pre-screen, suspicion, or random, we want to know if somebody's doing drugs, and we want them away from our kids. So I feel like that is a long-term investment, but we do need to get the numbers. But the policy is not written in a way that it impacts budget. We can handle the budget on that separate side.
The pre-screening, would it be before every year or before each new employment?
I think it's before each new. And we already have a contract for suspicion testing. From what I understand, is there already a contract? Marcy, do you mind getting us those numbers on the, or how that contract reads that we currently have? I know this will have at least I think one more committee reading and a full board readings. There'll be 2 more meetings, so we can understand the budget implications. Okay, so if the current services aren't covered, we can rebid. Excellent.
I concur with what Chairman Wofford and Mac and Laura said. And in response to Mr. Barrow's question about does the state require this of their employees or do they have random drug screening? Yes, they do. I was employed by the state for 6.5 years. And you were pre-screened, and then they could do random testing. If they suspected maybe you were doing drugs, or if they just called your number and said, you're up, it's your turn. And I'm like Ms. Wofford, that it is a deterrent. I mean, I would never in a million years be around people who do drugs simply because of that one thing. Okay, it is a deterrent. It keeps you from falling prey. And I was very careful about prescription drugs whenever I was prescribed something. And, it just, I think all around, it's better to have it than not to have it because of the drug epidemic. And I'm going to tell you right now, I see it firsthand every day because I'm a crisis counselor at the hospital. I see it every day. People who come from all walks of life, not just your typical street addict. I'm talking about people who come from nice backgrounds. So I'm telling you, it happens. So random drug screening, I'm all for it. You have your military, they do it. My son was drug screened the whole time he was in the Navy. You have people who have classifications who for certain reasons or another, such as Chairman Wofford and the job responsibilities that they have to be drug screened. And we're wanting to sidestep this. When we stop and think about who's in charge of our children 8 hours of the day, the district is. Those school teachers, staff, doesn't matter who you are. Okay, you're around our kids. And you need to be held to a certain standard. And if you're not, we don't want you in the school district. So that's how I feel.
And I believe if you are a current employee, correct me if I'm wrong, that if you are identified and you do have a drug problem, we assist you, correct? And we will, the Kennedy Center will, if we could help, because, teachers, people, nobody's perfect. And if they develop an opioid problem, we could possibly help that family, So that's why I feel like it would be a good option.
Is there any other discussion? This is the first reading. Hearing none, we'll call the question. All in favor, please respond by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, nay.
No.
Motion carries 7-1.
At this time, I would like to make the motion to approve the revised 2018-2019 salary book.
There's a motion from committee. No second is required. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, we'll call the question. All in favor, please respond by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, nay.
At this time, I would like the motion for agenda item 2C, clarify action regarding policy revisions. Motion to take clarifying action. Whereas the board engaged the South Carolina School Board Association and our general counsel to conduct a comprehensive review and revision to board policies, and whereas it is necessary to take certain action to clarify the intent of the board in adopting the policy revisions as recommended by the CSBA and council, I move that the board clarify that its intent in adopting the revisions to Board Policy Section G on May 22, 2018 was to delete all of Section G existing as of the date and replace such policies with those in the form as presented to the Board on May 22, 2018. Authorize the superintendent or his designee to delete or correct in the policies cross-referenced to our policies to accurately reflect the revisions adopted by the board, including deleting references to policies that no longer exist or correcting references to policy codes which have been modified. Delete and revoke policy EGAA and GOA option 1. Authorize the superintendent or his designee to delete or correct job and position titles to accurately align with the district's organizational chart. Authorize the superintendent or his designee to make revisions in policy names and codes as necessary to accurately reflect the contents of the policies, and authorize the superintendent or his designee to make revisions to all policies to remove typographical, grammatical, and other non-substantive errors.
One clarifying amendment, that the policy to be deleted and revoked, I think you said GOA, it's GCOA option 1.
That's right.
GCOA option 1.
Yeah.
Okay, there is a very long motion from committee. No second is required. Is there any additional discussion? Hearing none, we'll call the question. All in favor, please respond by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. 2D.
Motion for agenda item 2E, revised bond resolution. Motion to approve the revised resolution for the issuance and sale of general obligation bonds.
Michael, you need to bring the 2D out as that we recommend a denial. I'm sorry. Point of order, you need to go to 2D.
Oh, we need to go back to 2D?
Yep. You need to do 2D.
Yep.
And recommend to the board to deny, because we need a full board action on 2D.
It's the watch fire signs.
Oh.
60.
No,
We don't. So the 2D so the 2D from the committee meeting does not match the 2D because we've had 2 committee meetings since we had a full board meeting. So, yeah. I say, let him sit beside me. All right, so 2D, y'all, I apologize. We are on provide and install watch fire.
Yeah. So I made the motion to provide and install watch fire signs. It is IFB 534-17-8 to provide and install watch fire LED to Tyson Sign Company for a projected contract value of $67,423.
There's a motion from committee. No second is required. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, we'll call the question. All in favor, please respond by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, nay.
Next, we have IFB 359-17-18, Access Network Camera and Equipment. I make the motion that we approve IFB 539-17-18 for access network camera and equipment to A3 Communications for goods and equipment on an as-need basis for a term of 1 year with an option to renew for 4 additional years with an estimated yearly contract value of $372,906.
We have a recommendation from committee. No second is required. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, we'll call the question. All in favor, please respond by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. Motion carries. Yes.
Also, on recommendation of the committee, I move to deny RF RFP 537-17-18 for student and athletic insurance services to the Young Group Incorporated for an initial 2-year term with the option to renew for 3 additional 1-year terms with a projected annual cost of $395,000 per year and a potential 5-year contract value of $1,975,000.
There's a recommendation from committee. No second is required. Is there any additional discussion? Hearing none, we'll call the question. All in favor, please respond by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. Motion carries.
Also, on recommendation of the committee, I move to direct the superintendent to conduct an emergency procurement for accident insurance services for our athletic programs and athletes.
There's a recommendation from committee under item 6F. There's no second required. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, we'll call the question. All in favor, please respond by saying aye.
Madam Chairman?
Yes.
I need to recuse myself from...
Oh, I apologize. I do have in writing. We're flustered, man. It's already late. So I do have in writing from Ms. Condor. I would like the record to show that I have a record in writing that Ms. Condor will be recusing herself from item 6.
It's not this one, it's the next one, I think.
The next one.
I'm sorry, 6G. It's not this one. It's the next one. So this motion, this recommendation is an emergency procurement for student and for athletic insurance services. Okay, so we're going to call the question on that. Is there any discussion? We'll call the question. All in favor, please respond by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. Now for item G.
Yes. Also, on recommendation of the committee, I move to award RFP 538-17-18 for benefit enrollment services to First Financial Group Incorporated for an initial 1-year term with the option to renew for 4 additional 1-year terms at no cost to the district, and name First Financial Group Incorporated as the broker of record for approved voluntary benefit products.
There's a motion from the committee. There's no second required. This is where we would like the record to show that Ms. Condor has submitted in writing that she is recused from this discussion and also this vote. Is there any additional discussion?
Yes,
Mr.
thank you.
Barrow.
First Financial Administrators is housed in Houston, Texas, but there's a local office on Dorchester Road. And even though the bid was followed in accordance with procedure, and Ms. Abramson has verified and confirmed that, and there's really no reason to contest the bid. However, I'm uncomfortable with supporting the bid because there's a local agent for First Financial Administration, is a former board member. And I just think the appearance of this is troubling to me. I'm not making any accusations or conflict of interest. I'm simply stating that I have some reservations about confirming this because of the board member, the former board member's participation or being an employee of that firm.
Any other discussion? Hearing none, we'll call the question. All in favor, please respond by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, nay.
Nay.
Motion passes 7-1. I'm sorry. 6-1 with one recusal. Good Lord, get it together. 6-1 with one recusal.
Also, on recommendation of the committee, I move to approve 3 out-of-state travel requests as presented.
There's a recommendation from committee. No second is required. Is there any discussion?
I do have a question about one of them. There was no amount for the third one.
We're not paying. The school district isn't paying for it. Oh. It's being funded from a grant, or it's paid by a foundation. But they still, even with no cost, they have to get permission to go out of state. Following to the letter.
Fair enough.
Any other discussion? Hearing none, we'll call the question. All in favor, please respond by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. Motion carries 8-0.
Also on recommendation of the committee, I move to approve the comprehensive master facility plan.
There's a recommendation from committee. No second is required. Is there any additional discussion? I feel like this horse has been beat dead. We'll call the question. All in favor, please respond by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. Motion carries.
Also on recommendation of the committee, I move to approve the revised resolution for the issuance and sale of general obligation bonds of the school district in the principal amount of not exceeding $45 million. The proceeds of which will be used for the purpose of paying existing debt, funding capital projects, including but not limited to the undertaking of capital improvements to the school district's facilities and the acquisition of equipment and other infrastructure and technology improvements, and paying the cost of issuance of the bonds and other lawful purposes as the board may determine.
There's a recommendation from committee. No second is required. Is there any discussion?
Please note my recusal for the record.
I have received in writing, Mr. McQuillan will be recusing himself from all discussion and voting on this matter. I thank Mr. Jeremy Cook for coming and sitting through this, and we have no questions, but we appreciate your availability. Hearing no other discussion, we'll call the question. All in favor, please respond by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. The motion carries 7-0 with one recusal.
Also on recommendation of the committee, I move to approve the extension of the contract with Harding Parker and Associates, LLC, to provide broad consulting services to the Berkeley County Board of Education, including to advise the Board of Education and Superintendent and Designate on implementation of the Master Facility Plan, advise the Superintendent and Board on the establishment of a construction department within Facility Services, assist the development of Berkeley County Construction Standards Manual, and give direction on the establishment of prototype models for BCS. Advise the board on all issue relative to education adequacy regarding school construction. Assist the district on all land acquisition issues, and advise the Board of Education and Superintendent as needed, in the amount of $7,500 per month, plus reasonable expenses for a term of 24 months.
There is a recommendation from the committee. No second is required. Is there any additional discussion?
Yes, ma'am. I have some extended remarks that I'd like to read. In March of 2017, immediately after the sudden resignation of Superintendent Brenda Blackburn, the district entered into an agreement with Harding Parker and Associates for consulting services for board governance and to provide oversight and leadership development for interim superintendent. The emergency procurement originated on March 10, 2017. For services rendered under the March 2017 contract, the district paid Harding Parker and Associates a total of $154,715.72. The contractual agreement listed $65,000, $25,000, and another $25,000 for $114,500 plus reasonable expenses. There was an overage. The PO's total a payment of $154,715. So I assume that the customary expenses were in excess of $40,000. On August 2nd, 2017, the board agreed to approve a contract with the terms to be negotiated by the chairwoman as authorized in executive session with Harding Parker and Associates to consult to the Board of Education governance matters, district capital needs, and to assist with the organization transitional implementation with the new superintendent. The contract authorized the district to pay Harding Parker and Associates $9,750 per month for 12 months for a total of $117,000. In addition, the contract allowed for reasonable expenses. Purchase order number 83736 shows a total of $177,000. The additional $60,000 was added for estimated monthly travel expense in the amount of $5,000 per month. Dr. Parker's claimed mileage each month. The month of January 2018 is an example. Dr. Parker claimed 6,987 miles, driven at a rate of 53 cents per mile, for a total of $3,703.11. This amount, added to the $9,750 for consulting fees, adds up to $13,453.11. Even though the August 2, 2017 requires Dr. Parker to be present in the district on a regular basis, he routinely works 1 day a week, and that's Wednesdays, in the district office. If Dr. Parker worked a total of 4 days in January, his average daily salary, including mileage, would be $3,363.28. I have requested copies of mileage reimbursement forms for Dr. Parker's claimed travel. There are none. There is no way to substantiate when and where the travel occurred and the number of miles driven each day. Dr. Ingram is the only individual in the district that is exempt from submitting travel reimbursement forms for the approval of the immediate supervisor, including members of the Board of Trustees. From August 2017 through July 2018, Berkeley County School District had paid Harding Parker and Associates a total of $145,742.02 for monthly consulting fees, including monthly travel. Harding Parker and Associates has provided district staff development to Berkeley County School District employees. Over the last year, a total of 17 days training was conducted. Berkeley County School District paid Harding Parker and Associates a total of $81,850.35 for those days, an average of $4,814.73 per day. While the board does not have to approve staff development contracts, and staff development contracts do not have to be bid, there is still a need to enter into a negotiated agreement with the firm that is being paid to do the training. The type or types of training, the number of days training, and the total cost of the training is absolutely necessary to be agreed upon in writing. I have requested a copy of the contract for this training and was told there is no contractual agreement. I have read the March 2017 emergency procurement document as well as the August 2nd, 2017 contracts carefully. There is no mention of any staff development training in either of them. The total amount of money that the district has paid to Harding Parker and Associates from March 2017 through July 2018 is $382,310.09. I have no personal animus towards Dr. Parker or anyone associated with Harding Parker and Associates. Dr. Parker and his team have been very helpful in many ways to the school district, and they have been paid generously. It is my belief that we have many talented and dedicated employees in this district that can more than adequately devise a master facility plan that will meet the needs of our growing communities. We have an experienced superintendent that is capable and worthy of our trust and confidence to lead the district and manage our growth potential. We do not need an outside firm to develop initiatives for us. As Board of Trustees for Berkeley County School District, we should all want to be fiscally responsible to the public and to be wise in the use of our resources. Therefore, I think the money that we can save without extending this contract will be spent more wisely.
Question for you, Mr. Barrow. You say you have no personal animus to Dr. Parker or his team, and I want you to answer this question honestly and publicly. Were you terminated by Dr. Parker, yes or no?
No.
That's your representation in front of the public and this board.
Absolutely.
That you were not terminated.
And if Dr. Parker was here, he would confirm that.
Okay. Number two, I think your numbers are inaccurate that you've presented in your long and drawn-out speech, which I do not appreciate. I've got young children at home. But since you threw out bogus numbers, Attorney Whitley, can you come up here and clarify the record and give us the truth as to the real numbers?
before Mr. Whitley arrives at the podium, I'd like to stipulate that the numbers came from purchase orders that I got from CFO, and they are substantiated. I had a conference with Dr. Ingram and Ms. Smith and presented these numbers, and there was no contradiction to these numbers by either one of them.
Madam Chairwoman, Mr. McQuillan, actually, the CFO very transparently provided 72 pages to Mr. Barrow, but you don't add POs that estimate expenses. You actually add what is actually paid. And so he quoted the estimated travel allowance of $5,000. That was an estimate on a PO you have to issue on the front end. But what you actually pay is the invoice you receive from the client on the back end. But in order to do the procurement 1 year ago, you issue a PO with an estimated travel. You don't pay that estimated travel. That would be one point. It would have been much better, however, for those questions to have come in committee where Dr. Parker could answer them straightforwardly, because I think they're a question of honor and integrity. And you don't get 22 districts visited in 2 states, and I take grave exception to that speech because it was a question of integrity. Dr. Parker was sitting here to answer any question Mr. Barrow had during the committee. I wish we'd have known this issue would have come back because we could have answered it. But you don't add estimated travel costs from the PO that's issued on the front end.
That is, in fact, what I did not do. I took everything from actual invoices.
I want to know why you didn't address this when Mr. Parker was still here during the Finance Committee.
I didn't know he was going to leave. I'd be happy to address it with
you
him.
had an opportunity during the Finance Committee meeting, Mr. Barrow.
Don't raise your voice at me. Here's what.
Excuse me?
Here's what I just told
Pardon
you.
me?
You're out of order. What I have asked Dr. Ingram to do is to have a meeting with me and to invite other members of the board and any interested parties. And I did have a meeting with Dr. Ingram and Ms. Smith in Dr. Ingram's office and expected other board members to attend. And I did ask Dr. Ingram if he had invited the other board members for a frank, open discussion, and he said they had. So I can only surmise that the other members of the board, A, were either not invited, in which Dr. Ingram was not being forthcoming, or you chose not to attend. But all of these are invoices. They're not based upon purchase orders. They're all invoices.
Barrow, we meet here in public, so these people can see what we're talking about. We all have full-time jobs. We don't come to the school district during the middle of the day. I've actually taken leave from my job to come to the school district in the middle of the day because the hot mess that we are in. But we have meetings here in the public. We have meetings here in the public. So if you'd like for the board to have a frank conversation, I feel like we have gone above and beyond to have a frank, drawn-out conversation tonight for everybody to...
I didn't set the meeting. Dr. Ingram asked me if I could come at 4 o'clock on a Thursday afternoon. I would have gladly come at 7 o'clock. But these are invoices. They're not purchase orders. These are actual payments for services rendered. And all I'm saying is when you claim a certain number of miles, you need to stipulate in writing when it was, where you were going, and how many miles were driven per day. That's what I have to do.
But you just said they were purchase orders, Mr. Barrow.
I said that the purchase order was added from 117 and the 60 was the $5,000 for additional travel for a total of the purchase order amount of 177. I did not say that that was the actual amount paid. The amount paid is for the actual invoices that I have right here. And you were emailed those. Dr. Ingram and Ms. Smith actually emailed you the same material I have.
And we reviewed it, and we have a $298 million budget this year. I'm not parsing over $10,000 in the quality and value of investment that Dr. Parker has brought to this district. I absolutely believe him to be truthful. I believe there is a personal vendetta or an axe to grind. I can't exactly figure out what it is, but it very much seems to be there. And that's your decision, your personal. That's up to you. You represent a district, you vote, you represent them how you see fit. I know the days that I haven't been able to sleep because I didn't know where we were going to be the next day. And I know what Dr. Parker has provided for me as the chairman, and for Dr. Ingram, and for Mr. Jackson, and for Ms. Smith, and this entire facilities team to get us through the last 18 months. And I'm not parsing over $10,000. I fully hear your disagreement. That is your right as a board member. I believe we need to move forward. Yes. I don't think we need to be on a consultant forever, but I am not going to do what past boards have done and paid just 2 years ago, we paid a consultant over $100,000, and we never did anything with what the consultant brought to us. We are going to do better than that. We're going to take what has been provided to us. We're going to go to the next level, and we are going to provide a 21st century education to the children in Berkeley County. And we are not going to spend all our time and effort on facilities. We're going to get facilities handled by outside consultants so our people can think about kids and teachers. That's how I feel about it. Does anybody else have any other discussion? Hearing none, we'll call.
Just a minute. These documents are public record. Anybody can see these. They are all invoices that were paid. Ms. Smith is here right now. If that's not true, she can stipulate that, or she can agree with that, or she can make no comment. But anybody that's here or viewing this video or whenever can make up their own judgment about whether or not it was handled appropriately. I'm not taking exception to the amount of money that was actually paid. These are facts that are borne out, and all I want to do is an accountability and an open and fair way because somebody's claiming 6,987 miles for 4 days' work. I'd like to know where they originated from, and it wasn't Myrtle Beach.
Dr. Parker certainly carried out more than 4 days' work in a month, and so did his associates. And we'll call the question. All in favor, please respond by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay?
Nay.
Nay. Motion carries 5-3. We'll now move on to the superintendent's report.
Thank you, Madam Chair, board members, members of the audience. I appreciate what a couple of the speakers said about paying attention to our teachers. There's certainly nothing more true than that. The 21st century design, I don't know that I'm answering any specific questions, but I'd like to comment on it. Last week, Thursday, I was invited by Mr. Pinson, Ray Pinson. A lot of people know him, representing Santee Cooper. They sponsor a teacher training out at Wampee, and I was asked to come. And I wasn't really speaking, but I made a couple of comments when I had the opportunity to do so. And the teachers were from across the state. 4 of them were from Berkeley County. They were from Hanahan Middle School. That's who got our slots this year. Waiting list for it's very popular training. And the teachers are treated very well. They stay at Wampee, even if they're here in Berkeley County. They choose to stay on the Wampee campus. And it reminds me of the North Carolina Center for the Advancement of Teaching in Cullowhee and in Ocracoke. And I talked about accountability, and I said some of the same things that I said earlier. And I'm sorry that some of our other speakers have left, because I think they might appreciate these remarks. We have a teacher shortage because in this country, we're beating them up. We're beating them up. And when I said that Berkeley County Schools was not going to focus on standardized memorization scores, I got applause, almost relief. Certainly a standardized test has a place. We're going to implement all standardized tests that we're required to with fidelity, but we're not going to day in, day out practice them over and over and over. That is asinine. Sorry, there's not a better word. So as part of your homework, I've purchased a book by Ted Dintersmith, What School Could Be. And Ted Dintersmith is a venture capitalist who went on a 50-state tour to visit schools that dared to do things differently. And interestingly enough, as Ms. Condor spoke about the 21st Century Design School we visited, Mr. Dintersmith noted that even some of the standardized scores actually went up without practicing the test. The truth of the matter is, for folks who aren't in education business, and I apologize because I know the hour's late, a standardized test score is one score on one day. One score on one day. And this country is using it as a hammer to drive our teachers out. I'm sick of it. And fortunately, I think I work with a board that recognizes that. We talk about costs. In 2013, the standardized testing industry netted $16.5 billion. With a B.
That's more than the NFL.
NFL, you remember well, Sally. The NFL, the same year, $9 billion. The American cinema industry, $11.5. So where are our priorities? Are they with our children? I don't know. I don't know about that. So anyway, this offers a different look. I formed a business cabinet. We've met. I actually got a chance to show a clip of a film here one night, 20 minutes long, Most Likely to Succeed, which was underwritten by Ted Dintersmith and Harvard professor Tony Wagner, who has gone all over the world. Tony's gone all over the world and spoken about to Finland and other places. And he is absolutely convinced, as I, that standardized testing is overused and it's not sufficient to help kids be successful in the 21st century. So August 7th, as we do our, my self-assessment on our evaluation, we won't have any consultants here. But I want the board to read this book. I've bought copies for the cabinet and for the principals and for the design team, because vision has to be driven from the school level up. It cannot be driven from the top down. And Kevin and I have been working with Jarita Postlethwaite in Charleston and Joe Pye in Dorchester and Morris Ravenel in D4 to perhaps come up, and I've mentioned this to you, that sort of give Kevin sort of a little special assignment. We got to hammer out some details, and Kevin and I got to call Dr. Postlethwaite and hammer down the deliverables on perhaps a different accountability model. One that focuses more on what kids are actually able to do, as opposed to what score they may or may not get on a test. The current models are accountability by zip code. So I want you to read this book. It's easy to read. I've already read it. There are little vignettes of his travels, and I think it's going to be a little bit eye-opening. I will warn you, there's just a little bit of a political vein in it, but not much. He does talk about his support in a couple of sentences of President Obama in 2008. And then a couple of sentences later, he is critical of the legislation that sort of helped pinpoint us, as he is critical of the No Child Left Behind legislation that declared that children would be all reading and we would fix them all by 2014, I think, or something like that. So I think we need to pay attention to statistics like creativity. And this metric really, this is what keeps me up at night besides the money, is we still have a 2-to-1 advantage over China in patents in this world. But 14 years ago, we held a 9-to-2 advantage. It's shrinking, and it's shrinking fast. They accounted for 89% of China accounted for 89% of the growth or the applications for patents. And one of their goals is to become the economic superpower in the world. If our children are going to prosper, if my children, really my grandchildren, then we, as Ted Dintersmith will say, we don't have to teach things better, we have to teach better things. And you know what? We can do that here. I appreciate all the discussion, the cognitive dissonance, as I like to call it. Healthy debate is good. It's good for our kids. But I would ask our community that this fall we'll be planning a showing of the video or the hour-and-a-half length film Most Likely to Succeed. And we're going to ask our seniors to sit on a panel. And we're going to ask them. And we're going to ask, now I don't know what they're going to say. They might, hurt our feelings. They might say, I wish I had more of this. They might say, I wish I had less of this. But you know what? If we keep trying to do the same thing over and over and over and expect something substantively different, that's what Einstein calls insanity. So that's pretty much my report for the night. We do have in-service this week. It's going well. Compliments to all the staff. So anyway, I just want to take this opportunity to pass this book out to let folks know that we are going to move forward with learning and teaching and making school meaningful for kids. And I want those kids that don't want to leave school. I don't want the kids to wish for... There's something wrong when we're all wishing for the weather to turn bad so we don't have to go to school. There's something wrong with that. Have we ever stopped to think about it? There's really something wrong with that. And we have the power to change it, but we have to do it together. And we'll have differences, and that's okay to have differences, and I respect that. But at any rate, I feel very strongly about this. It's not a grandstand, it's a passion. And but we have to do responsibly within budget constraints. But a lot of stuff really doesn't cost money. It's just attitudes. And our kids should know what their next step is. When the seniors graduate and we're asking the seniors in the Charleston Coliseum, what are you doing next? They should tell us what they're doing next. They shouldn't say, I don't know. They shouldn't say things like one of the speakers said, to tell you the truth, we don't know each other very well, and if we're honest, a lot of us have no clue what we're doing next. Shame on us. Shame on us. And will somebody explain to me why financial literacy is not a math standard? It's crazy. But we can change that here locally. And we can have influence in other places as well. Because I have to tell my adult children daily, I am not their pension plan. They're going to outlive me. But we insist on sorting and selecting and keeping kids out of school because they can't factor for a polynomial. How many of you did that recently in your lives? How many of you factored for a polynomial recently? And I don't want to get off on diagramming sentences. I taught English, and I taught people to diagram sentences because it was done to me. And I said, surely the superintendent in Elizabeth City, North Carolina, Bob Gordon, will ask me to prove I can diagram a sentence before he gives me an English teaching job. And you know what? He didn't do it. And I'm saying, how important is it? How important is it? So if we are public education, we need to be focused on life skills for kids, not some generic standardized number. So I do not apologize for my passion. I do apologize because the hour's growing late, but do your homework. We'll have a discussion and a book discussion, and Diane Drigger saying we'll set something up online. We can do a book discussion online. That would be great. And I couldn't buy enough copies for everybody, but if you're interested, it's What School Could Be by Ted Dintersmith. And there's a webinar August 8th on that, by the way. I can send you a link to if you're interested in participating, where he will be discussing as well. Madam Chair, that concludes my report. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, so much. For the board chair report, we are having a workshop on August 7th. 5:30 start?
Yeah, it's fine.
5:30 start. So that's when your homework's due, is August 7th with a 5:30 start. We're going to be working on the self-assessment tool with Dr. Ingram, and we're going to do some team building and creating vision. And prayerfully, we're going to spend as much time thinking and talking about this book and our vision and what we can be and what our kids can be as we did tonight, debating a contract, because that's the most important thing. We haven't done this like this in a while, but now we're going to go into executive session. I am so sorry for our administrators, but we're getting there. Is there a motion to enter into executive session?
So moved. Second.
There's a motion by Mr. McQuillan, a second by Mr. Ramsey to enter into executive session for the stated purpose of discussion of pending employment matters to include the appointment of administrators who've been sitting here a long time, and we will also hear 8 student attendance appeals. Any discussion? Hearing none, we'll call the question. All in favor, please respond by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. We'll now entertain a motion to return to regular session.
So moved.
Second.
There's a motion by Mr. McQuillan, a second by Ms. Conder. To return to regular session, I would like to state, for the record, no action was taken in executive session. Is there any other discussion? Good Lord, it's raining. Hearing none, we'll call the question. All in favor, please respond by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. We are in regular session. We'll now move on to agenda item 10A, action as required from executive session. Dr. Ingram?
Yes, Madam Chair, I'd like to recommend to the board. It's getting late. Oh, that's right. All I'm doing is, thank you. Yes. I'm sorry. It's late. It's past my bedtime. Sue will tell you. But I just want to welcome Adra Shaw. Adra is not an unfamiliar face to us, but she did a tremendous amount of work at Kane Hoy. And Susan, when I first got here, Susan Gelman said, keep an eye on Adra. She's really doing a bang-up job. And I was certainly impressed. And, when we searched at Westview Primary, we listened to the community. They really expressed a strong desire for someone with experience and someone that they could hit the ground running, and we couldn't think of anyone better than her. So I believe that we should reward people who do good work. So while it doesn't require board approval, we wanted to put Adra up before the board and the community so they could officially see her as the new principal at Westview Primary, and we're looking forward to that. And we'll be going to Kane Hoy Thursday night to have a parent meeting, 6 o'clock, to listen to the community about what they would be looking for in a new principal. And I'm sure they won't forgive us quickly, but they will forgive us eventually. So, Adra, welcome to Westview.
Yes, sir. You're good. All right, Dan.
Madam Chairman, I'd like to make a motion to accept the recommendation of the administration to name Ms. Crystal Mitchum as the new assistant principal of Cane Bay Elementary School, with the contract to take effect on July the 25th, 2018.
Second. There's a motion by Ms. Conder, a second by Wofford, to accept the recommendation of the administration to name Ms. Crystal Mitchum as the new assistant principal of Cane Bay Elementary School, with a contract to take effect on July 25th, 2018. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, we'll call the question. All in favor, please respond by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. Congratulations. Welcome. Who did you bring with you to endure all of this wonderful fun at the school board meeting? Wonderful. Thank you for staying so long with us.
I'm very excited.
Wonderful.
Don't take the rest of the day off.
That's very generous.
I was going to say all an hour and 22 minutes of it. Crystal, we are very excited for you to become an assistant principal, and we know that you're going to accomplish great things at Cane Bay, and there are lots of little children there to touch their lives and develop their educational experience. So welcome. Next, I move to accept the recommendation of the administration to name Mr. Jonah Bryant as the new assistant principal of Berkeley High School with a contract to take effect on July 25th, 2018.
Second.
Mr. Barrow. There's a motion by Wofford, a second by Mr. Barrow, to accept the recommendation of the administration to name Mr. Jonah Bryant as the new assistant principal of Berkeley High School with a contract to take effect on July 25th, 2018. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, we'll call the question. All in favor, please respond by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. Congratulations, Jonah. Please give our apologies to your parents for going on for so long, but we are very happy to have you be promoted at Berkeley High School. You've done excellent work at the Star Academy, and we are looking forward to all the things that you will bring in your new role. So congratulations.
Madam Chair, I'd like to make a motion to accept the recommendation of the administration to approve that formal complaints and reports of breaches of contract for 9 teachers be sent to the State Board of Education to ask that appropriate actions be taken against the employees for unprofessional conduct during the 2017-2018 school year as discussed during executive session.
Second.
There's a motion by Mr. McQuillan, a second by Mr. Ramsey, to accept the recommendation of the administration to approve that formal complaints and reports of the breach of contracts for 9 teachers to be sent to the State Board of Education to ask that appropriate actions be taken against the employees for unprofessional conduct during the 2017-2018 school year as discussed during executive sessions. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, we'll call the question. All in favor, please respond by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. The motion carries.
Madam Chairwoman, in the matter of student number 1, I move that we grant the attendance appeal.
Second.
There's a motion by Mr. McQuillan, a second by Mr. Barrow to grant the appeal of student number 1. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, we'll call the question. All in favor, please respond by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Student number 2.
Make a motion we deny the appeal.
I'll second.
There's a motion by Mr. Barrow, a second by Ms. Lee to deny the appeal of student number 2. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, we'll call the question. All in favor, please respond by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay.
Nay.
That motion fails. 3-5. Is there a new motion for student number 2?
Madam Chair, in the matter of student number 2, I move that we grant the attendance appeal.
Second.
There's a motion by Mr. McQuillan, a second by Ms. Conder, to grant the appeal of student number 2. Any further discussion? Hearing none, we'll call the question. All in favor, please respond by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay.
Nay.
5-3, the motion passes. Student number 3.
Madam Chair, in the matter of student number 3, I move that we grant the attendance appeal. Is there a second?
Second.
There's a motion by Mr. McQuillan, a second by Mr. Ramsey, to grant the appeal of student number 3. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, we'll call the question. All in favor, please respond by saying aye.
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 Opposed, nay.
Nay.
The motion fails. Is there another motion for student number 3?
Madam Chair, I'll make a motion we deny the appeal. Second.
There's a motion by Mr. Barrow, a second by Reverend Spann to deny the appeal of student number 3. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, we'll call the question. All in favor, please respond by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, nay.
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 Motion carries 6-2. Student number 4.
Madam Chair, I move that we deny the appeal for student number 4.
Second.
There's a motion by Ms. Lee, a second by Reverend Spann, to deny the appeal of student number 4. Any discussion? Hearing none, we'll call the question. All in favor, please respond by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay.
Nay.
The motion fails. Is there another motion for student number 3?
Madam Chair.
I'm sorry, student number 4. Good Lord, we're going backwards.
Madam Chair, I move that we grant the appeal of student number 4.
Second.
There's a motion by Ms. Condor, a second by Mr. McQuillan, to grant the appeal of student number 4. Any discussion? Hearing none, we'll call the question. All in favor, please respond by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay.
Nay.
Motion carries 6-2. Student number 5.
Madam Chair, I move that we grant the appeal of student number 5.
Second.
There's a motion by Ms. Condor, a second by Mr. McQuillan yields to Ms. Kelly to grant the appeal of student number 5. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, we'll call the question. All in favor, please respond by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay.
Nay.
Motion carries 6-2. Student number 6.
Madam Chair, I move that we grant the appeal of student number 6.
Second.
There's a motion by Ms. Condor, a second by Mr. McQuillan, to grant the appeal of student number 6. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, we'll call the question. All in favor, please respond by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay.
Nay.
Motion carries 5-3. Students 7 and 8 will be heard together. Is there a motion for students 7 and 8?
Madam Chair, in the matter of students number 7 and 8, I move that we grant the attendance appeal.
Second.
There's a motion by Mr. McQuillan, a second by Ms. Kelly, to grant the attendance appeal of students 7 and 8. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, we'll call the question. All in favor, please respond by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay.
Nay.
Motion carries 5-3. Praise the Lord. We are on to agenda item 11A. Is there a
Move to
motion?
adjourn.
Second.
Is there any? There's a motion by Mr. McQuillan, a second by Ms. Condor. Is there any discussion?
Dave, can you read the speech again for me? I'm just kidding.
Hearing none. Okay, now we're punch drunk. Hearing none, there's none. We'll call the question. All in favor, please respond by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. We are adjourned.